welcome to another episode of Shooting
the Shit with Rachael
and Neal Young. So we're talking all things real estate photography business growth, mindset, and getting it done. Here come your favorite true entrepreneurs, Rachael and Neal Young, shooting the shit.
I have a ferret on the podcast. Like if we're kind of in a slump, like what kind of things do you do?
Talking about a boob light.
Straddling a power line.
Nice photo.
Ooh, I need that.
I'm like red right now because I'm embarrassed. I go like this. I love it.
Come in.
Sure, use your podcast voice.
You know, over here, I'm pitting out.
Drone's like flipping to the ground.
That's a great callback.
Chit-chatting.
Is that what you call that?
Hey!
Hey!
Hello and welcome to Shooting
The Shit with Rachael
and Neal.
Thank you guys for joining us again. Today we are going to dive in and talk about making that leap from a part-time position to a full-time position in real estate photography. That is a big question that I get from a lot of the shooters that I train, a lot of the photographers that I talk to. They say, you know, how do I get clients? How do I build my business to full-time? So we're really going to dive into some of the aspects that can help you get to that next level today.
And figure out like, when is the right time? Like if you're already doing some side hustle with it, like when's the right time to just go for it? Like that kind of stuff too, right?
Definitely.
Cool. I think now officially I can say that it's the first full year that I've been full time. This my tax. Yes, thank you. My
I'm clapping. Yay!
My taxes still have the first couple months of last year. I did work waiting tables still, which was my buffer to help me get. You know, I was doing that to build up enough clients eventually to hopefully go full time, and so. Next year will be the first time that the taxes just say this, but now I'm a couple months into the new year that it's been about a full year, I'd say at this point. So
yeah, how's that going for you?
Well, it's been scary. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna just be all like roses. But the winter got scary up till Thanksgiving. It was like, man, I'm hitting all the marks I wanted to hit. Boom, boom, boom. And then Thanksgiving hit, and I was like, do I have enough money saved? You know, so. Yeah.
And that's a big part of going full time too, is planning out your months, because this is a seasonal job, right. Seasonal work. So, you know, we're busy from about March till November, and then it really slows down. So you really have to be good about saving your money, budgeting, you know, and having money set aside for those slow months. So it's important.
Definitely. So what I was doing was, I don't know if you have like a method to this numbers for like people to help them, but like what I was doing, which I realized wasn't enough, was I was putting aside 10%. Literally an invoice was paid. It went in my bank account and I go, okay, 10% went into savings, you know, whatever percent went to like my bills, whatever percent went to this, but there was 10% that was going to my bills that I was thinking was for taxes. Cause that's a big thing, right? Because previously, when I was waiting tables, they were taking some money out from the earnings I made for my tips and from my hourly wage. So I basically got no paycheck from waiting tables because, you know, Uncle Sam was taking that. But, you know, this year, the majority of this year, that wasn't happening. So I guesstimated like, oh, I think if I'm doing 10%, it's going to be enough. And it might have just barely been enough had I not, had I gauged November, December, January better. I thought because I had a bunch more clients, they were going to pull me through a little better than they did. And they didn't. So that money got eaten away just to pay my bills. It was gone. Yeah.
Yeah. The taxes, my first full year in real estate photography, which was 2018, I believe, or 17. I didn't put any money aside for taxes. And I had like, I think I had to pay like 15,000 or something in taxes, and I pulled it out of savings and I was like, dang it, there goes all my savings. Like really? Right. So the next year I put away 30% for taxes. So I pay myself once a month instead of weekly. And then I just budget for the whole month. And yeah, so 30% goes to taxes. And then I try to save 30% in my own personal savings. So I pay myself out of my business. 30% of that goes to a business savings account that I don't even touch. It's just separate. And then I have my own checking and my own savings account. So I'll put my money to pay my bills in my checking, and then 30% of what I made that month into my savings. So
Yeah.
It works pretty well that way. Then I know, and at the end of the year, I always have more than enough in my business savings, but I can use that money to buy new gear or to invest in more marketing or whatever I decide, go on a trip. This year, I'm going to start treating my shooters to dinners every couple months. So we'll
That's
get
fun.
together.
That's
Yeah.
cool. I like
I've
that.
got,
Nice.
I booked a retreat that I'm going to in September.
Ooh, what's the retreat?
It's a marketing, so it's a social media management company, and they're out of Meridian, Idaho. And I have to look up the name of them because I just Simply Creative, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, Simply Creative. Oh no, I'm sorry, Simply Collective.
Okay.
And yeah, it's like a women's strategy, like
Oh.
mastermind event that they're hosting in September. So I'm really excited.
Oh, that's
So it's
cool.
like $200 or $179 for the event. It's all day long on a Saturday. And then I have to pay for the hotel and my food and the gas to get there. It's like 8 hours away. So, it'll be probably $1,000 weekend easy, but
Yeah.
that kind of stuff comes out of my business expenses and it's all for growth. And, it's going to positively impact me. I'll make some new contacts there, I'm sure, networking and whatnot. My social media manager that I use is actually going to be there as well. So I'm really excited about that.
Cool. Yeah, that's fun. That's nice.
Never have met her in person, actually.
Oh, that'll be crazy, right?
Yeah, she's awesome.
Hopefully you find out that you really like each other in person.
I know, right? What if we just don't get along? No.
That's it.
I get along with everyone.
We're parting ways.
Yes. Just can't see you in real life. I need to just have this online relationship. Yes. So Neal, how was your week?
Well, so last week was really busy for me, and that was like great because it finally picked up, and it felt like it was. So I always I have an old school calendar, not one right here, but I mark every day the money I made, and on the end of the week I total it up, and I have a goal that I need to hit, and I literally put a smiley face if I hit it or a sad face if I don't.
That's so cute. I love it.
And so last week was good, and it hadn't been good for a while. It was just not hitting that mark. So last week was good, but then this week kind of went down again, and then on top of that, everybody in my family I think got sick. My daughter definitely got sick. My stepdaughter definitely got sick, but they had very obvious like sore throats and stuff like that. And I thought maybe it was just allergies that I was having, but now I'm not thinking it was allergies. I think I did get it a little bit, but not as bad as them. So anyway, I've just been just dragging this week. I had to cancel my stuff today. I didn't have a lot, but I had a head shoot session I was supposed to do, so we canceled that just to be safe and that kind of thing. But not the best week. Hopefully next week we'll be back on the up and up. How about you?
I had a good week. It was not as crazy as last week. Last week, I am pretty sure we had a record week.
That's awesome.
It was insane. I had 4 shooters shooting for me last week, and I think we did 15 shoots on Tuesday, like 12 on Wednesday. It was wild. So I shot all week last week, like all day, every day, and I was exhausted. So for myself, I book all the works packages are the ones that I do. Well, now I have other people on my team that do video, but before it was only like one other guy that did video, but now I have 3 people that do. So we're in better shape this year. But no, so I was doing, 2 or 3 videos a day, Matterport, drone, like the whole works. And I think last week just took it out of me. I've been so tired this week. So yeah, it's been a good week. I mean, I had a little mastermind meetup this morning with another photographer out of Virginia. She reached out to me on social media and said, hey, I have a team. We did about 1,800 shoots last year. I really want to set up a mastermind group with larger teams that are trying to grow. And I was like, yes, that'd be great. Like I mentor a lot of photographers that are, kind of behind me in years, like you and a couple other ones on my team that I'm helping out and helping them grow, but I haven't really connected with too many photographers that are ahead of me. So it's going to be really nice to have that kind of mentorship and to be able to bounce ideas off of each other for how to grow our team and implement better systems to get things going. Because it's a lot to manage. It really is. Once you get to the point where you have multiple shooters and lots of clients, it's like it can be overwhelming.
No, totally. So phase 1 for me was this last year was trying to get to full time. And then once I saw that it was, all right, I'm going to make it. Then it was like, all right, what can we do next year to go above that? Well, I think I need to figure out these shooters. So I'm at that phase where I'm trying to get a couple people to do some of the things I do. But yeah, starting out with just a photo, like you're saying, not to have them do everything because I do all services, but to at least do photography so that somebody could still book regular photos, whereas I could still film for like the video, photo, and Matterport, the whole shebang. But anyway, so to get back to jumping out, when to jump out to full time, and what to do to plan to go full time. What do you think? What's some of your first advice, or maybe some of your recollections from your experience when you kind of made that switch, or what was your experience?
So I think a lot of people, they either, they crawl, they walk, or they just jump in. And it depends on your situation, right?
Yeah.
Like Neal, you had the opportunity to kind of crawl and walk because you weren't forced into it, right?
Right. I
And
lost
on
my job, and so I had a house and a family, 2 kids and a wife. So, if I was straight out of college or something, I probably would just, you know, done scrape by and ate whatever I could eat, and just gone full time right off the bat. But what I had the opportunity to do is because my experience was, I had previous experience waiting tables from being in LA 10 years and all that stuff. So I went back to bartending and waiting tables and did the shoots as I could, which allowed me to still make my mortgage payments and all that. Um, you know,
And your employer was really flexible with your hours, which was great. I think that's
yes.
another problem too, because, we're kind of on this on-call basis with
Yep.
agents. They call such last minute, like, hey, can you do a shoot? And it's like, yeah, but if you have another job where you're committed to, you maybe won't be able to commit to that agent. And so
Yeah.
and then they're going to say, okay, well, you have that other part-time job. Or like, I've heard the stay-at-home mom that also does photography on the side, but then they can't do the shoot because they have to get a babysitter, right? So it's being available is really important in this industry and being able to
Yeah,
jump on it.
because the one time that they can't use you, they go find somebody else, and if they like them just as much and they never have any kind of conflict, they just stay with them. It's the path of least resistance, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, what I'd say to that point is, one of the great things that also they were flexible on, like me, if I already had something booked in advance, but because I was working nights, it gave me the days. There might have been a conflict, like if I needed to do a twilight shoot, but I'd say for somebody like that, if you're going to like bartend or you're going to wait tables, that's pretty good because you're going in maybe 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock. So at least you could do 1 or 2 shoots, and you're starting out. That might not be a huge conflict. They only have maybe 1 or 2 shoots a day. You might still be able to get those in. And then maybe the day you're off, you could book a twilight or something like that. But it probably would be tricky for twilight stuff and more than 1 or 2 shoots a day.
Definitely. Yeah. For me, I kind of just got dropped into it. I got divorced, needed a full-time job. I had a background well, I have a degree in fashion merchandising, a background in retail, knew I didn't want to go back to retail. So it was like, you know what? I'm just going to push this real estate photography thing. So I went out and bought all the gear, everything I needed to do it, and do like the big luxury listings. Educated the crap out of myself as quick as possible through YouTube, and just went for it. I mean, every single day I woke up, got up early, worked out, worked on my business, built out my website, did a lot of research looking at other companies and how they were presenting themselves online. I think that is so important to look the part. Like to really look like you're a professional, real business. That's the first thing people are going to look at. They do judge a book by the cover. So regardless of what people say. So to have that presence and that website that really stands out and is cohesive through to your social media is extremely important. So yeah, and I just networked and did everything that I could. I had a newsletter that I put out once a month. So, that would pop in. And I had clients before. I had portrait clients that I had worked with. So I think I probably had 200 people on my client list, but most of them weren't real estate agents. They were just families, right? But they would tell their friends. And then I joined a few like local Facebook groups. And some of my friends would recommend me to their realtor friends and say, oh, use Rachael. So I had one real estate agent in the area. Her name's Molly Haynes, Homes by Molly Haynes. She was on the American Dream. Like she's big time. She's got a team. She's killing it. So she had posted on one of those one of those like local groups. Does anyone know a real estate photographer? And a gal that I knew from the apartment complex that I lived in, who I met at the dog park, she recommended me. That was great. And then another friend of mine who was on that same thread and knew Molly also recommended me on the same thread. So there was probably like 10 responses with different photographers. I'd only been doing this for like 3 months. I was so new. I knew what I was doing, but not really, and she picked me and she loved my photos. Like, we built a relationship and I've been shooting for her ever since. So, and she's referred me to a ton of agents.
Yeah.
So a lot of building it out is building those relationships with your agents and
Yeah.
really just being yourself, having fun, just
Yeah.
go live your life and express all the good things that you have going on. And that will just light a fire,
Yeah.
for your business.
Yeah. 100% on the relationships. Agents, it's such a relationship business with these agents that if they like you and somebody else needs help, and there's always going to be somebody asking them like, hey, those photos are nice, who took them? So if you build those relationships, they will refer you. And that's what's happened to me too. I've really not done anything on my side of things really outgoing. It's really been organic referrals for me that have got me more clients and got the same clients coming back, is just by really working hard and trying to meet and fill kind of some problems that some of them were having previously, is where I started. I literally started with one client who I used to wait tables with, who's at that point was an agent for a couple years and was about to build her team out, a new team that worked with her. But she basically said, hey, I don't want to use my old photography service because they changed the way they charge and I don't like it. And I said, okay, so what do you like? You know what I mean? And luckily she helped me out and told me like what they used to charge and all this stuff. So I went by that, and then I listened to the things that they didn't like, which was they were hard to reach when there was a problem, or they need to reschedule, or all these things that were a pain in the neck. I eliminated. So
That's great advice. That's great advice right there. Yeah. To ask questions, right? Ask your agents questions. Like, you don't want to be like, oh, who were you using before? You don't want to be pushy, and pry, but you can say, what are you looking for in a real estate photographer? Like, what's really important to you? Getting your photos back the next day? Like, do you have to have the sky replaced on the inside and the exterior photos too? Or, do you care? Little things that will set you apart,
Yeah. No, totally. And they have their pains. They have their things that haven't worked for them in the past. And if you can at least ask some questions and just say, hey, is there anywhere that your past photographers are falling short that maybe I can improve on? What would those things be if you had a magic wand? I'm sure they'll tell you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Okay, so let's talk about budgeting.
Yeah.
And how to figure out like how much you actually need.
Okay. Yes.
to
And
survive.
and along with that, I wanted to ask you too. I want to ask from just for people that are sitting in that seat going like, well, I don't really know, like, how long is it going to take before, when you did that switch and you just went 100% in,
Mhm.
how long was it until you were not just eating away at your savings? Like, how long did it take before you were surviving? Do you remember?
It took me 3 months to get it up and running to full time,
Wow, that's pretty good.
which was fast because I got lucky. I had a college roommate who asked me to do senior photos for one of her friends. And it was like in 3 days. And I said, yeah, it was a Friday night. I'm like, I'm not doing anything. Yeah, I'm just working, trying to get this going. I'll take anything. So I went. Well, the dad was a real estate agent. He hired me to do all their Matterport. Turns out he's a top producing agent in Seattle. So along with him and with Molly, those two referred me out to a lot of people. So it was kind of like a little spiral of like wildfire, which was great. And I set my prices in the beginning on standard with what other photographers were doing in the area.
Right.
Like good photographers.
Yeah.
So I really didn't raise my prices for 3 years from the time I started. So I think that's really important too. Like just because you're new, you don't have to lowball yourself, or like you are worth it. You went out and bought all this gear to provide this service. You're growing and learning every single day. You're investing in yourself and in your business, and you're going to improve. So don't think you need to set your prices super low just to get clients. I think they will value you more and want to work with you more if you present yourself in a professional manner and have those prices. Like for me, if somebody like a social media manager, right? If I go and look at a social media manager and they're $200 a month, I'm going to be like, that's really cheap. Like, what's wrong with them? Right? Like I instantly think, oh, it's cheap. It's probably not very good. Like you honestly do get what you pay for in most instances. So just remember that you are worthy. You are wanted.
Totally.
You are worthy.
And I've heard that before too, that agents had not worked with photographers that even though they saw the work they were doing, they saw their rates and thought they're too cheap. They must not be on the right level. I did the same thing. I looked around to look at the prices and I went with the same price. They priced things slightly different than I did. They broke them down slightly different than I did, but I'm I am on the more expensive end for the area. So I didn't work with everybody, but when I work, I'm happy with what I get paid, and it allows me to grow as well when I needed to pay for someone to edit my photos or help me editing my videos, that I'm not all of a sudden, starving because I can't afford it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I have to tell you guys, when I first got divorced, I moved into an apartment. I paid $16.50 a month for my apartment, and I didn't have any other bills except my cell phone, and I didn't have TV or cable. Um, I had car insurance, obviously. It was pretty minimal bill. So I think my whole nut was like 2,200 that I had to cover. So for me, going full time was like making 3 grand a month.
yeah.
So it's not like I was making
Okay.
5 grand or something. So
Yeah,
3 grand a month to me, like full time to me, was not 40 hours a week. It was like making enough to cover my bills and having a little bit left over.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that was my definition of going full time.
Oh,
So
sure.
just
Yeah,
to
and I
kind of
should
put it in
explain.
perspective for
Yeah, I should
people.
explain that too. I don't ever look at how many like bookings there were a week. I'm just looking at, did I pay my bills?
Yeah.
That's what
Did I cover
consider.
my bills, pay my taxes,
Yeah.
and put a little bit in savings?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Did I survive
exactly.
this year? Yes, I'm full time.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I did. So, and that first year was really scary, especially when the winter came around, and I didn't really know how slow it would get.
Yeah.
And it did slow down quite a bit. And I was like, oh my gosh. But I'm also a portrait photographer. So I offered holiday mini sessions, which brought me $2,000 in November, which was great for me. So that kind of helped carry me through that. And then I had some family photos I did in December. And so that was kind of my side hustle. Like instead of waiting tables, I was doing portrait work when I could, headshots, newborn photos, whatever I could do to kind of make it all work, right? To bring
Yeah,
in that money.
and yeah, totally. I would definitely recommend that too. That if you have something you can do like portraits, or even if you can find another venue for something similar to what you already do, like if you're doing 360 tours and you want to go, try and book some hotels or something like that aren't maybe not as seasonal as real estate or something like that, then that's definitely a smart thing to do. And then the other thing is, outside of waiting, I think that if I didn't have waiting experience and I wasn't quite making it meet with the bills and stuff like that, if you had the opportunity, depending where you live, if you're in a metropolitan kind of area, I think some of these things now are really cool where you just work on demand, which is like, these like Grub Hubs and, all those kinds of jobs that literally you just turn on the app when you're ready to work. You don't have a booking that day. Well, go drive your car and, drop people off wherever they got to go to the airport or whatnot. Do what you got to do to allow you to do, what you really want to do.
Definitely. Definitely. Another great way to bring in some extra money and to learn in the meantime is to go be a second shooter for someone. So like for instance, I'm in the Seattle area. If you have experience in real estate photography, I would love to talk to you about possibly joining my team. This is a plug for Rachael and Photography.
Because she's drowning and needs more photographers.
I need more people. No, I only really need like 2 or 3 more people, I think, to get through summer at the rate we're going.
That's
so
amazing,
shouldn't be
though.
too hard to find
That's
that, right?
amazing.
I'm manifesting it every day. It's going to happen. I'm going to find great
right.
people. So anyways, there are a lot of teams out there and photographers that are growing that need support and need help. And that could be in the form of being a shooter for them, which you usually get paid between 40 and 50% to do that. And you literally just go shoot and then you come home, upload the files and send them off and you're done. So it's pretty cut and dry and easy. And with doing that, you'll also be trained by a seasoned vet, right? It's going to teach you some of their tips and tricks. And then another way too would be to maybe you could do like admin work for them, uploading in the mornings for them or helping them build out a newsletter or, being a social media manager on the side for one of these agents. There's so many real estate agents out there who struggle with social media. Like they just can't figure it out, and not all realtors are cheap, but most of them don't really consider that part of their marketing budget. Like their marketing budget consists of staging a home, hiring photography, getting nice flyers made, getting the signs up, stuff like that. So that if you think about it, like marketing should be like your social media presence should be a big chunk of your marketing budget as well every month. So if you could come in and offer that, say, hey, I'm just starting out, but I can help you with these posts 3 days a week or something. That could be a great way to just bring in some extra money. And you'd also learn that side of the business, which in turn you can use it for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's so many resources on YouTube. It's insane.
And
for social media.
I mean, you don't have to make this stuff up. If you can just get someone to talk to, a friend who's a realtor, or a friend or a relative who knows someone who's a realtor, who can get you a connection, and just pick their brain and just say, are you doing stuff for social media, or where do you have needs that maybe a photographer could help out? And they might have ideas you wouldn't think of on your own. It doesn't hurt to ask, right? Come up with some of your own ideas, throw them at them, see what they come back with, but also ask them, where could they use help? Because you never know. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities in photography, social media, real estate, all of this. There's a lot of things you could do. It's just a matter of like picking one or two and kind of focus on those as like a little side hustle to help you out to get through.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I have interviewed a couple people to come join my team. One gal I talked to, she was super nice, just adored her. I was like, your work's great. I like your personality. Like, I'd love to have you on. And she's like, let me think about it. I'll get back to you. And she got back to me and she said, I'm really focusing on growing my business right now. So I don't want to put any time into someone else's business. And I mean, I respect that decision. But at the same time, I think when you join forces with another team, you can learn so much from that experience.
Yeah.
Like there's so much you can get out of it. So, and even if it's just once a week, or twice a week.
Yeah. And I also did assist at a studio. Actually, is another thing you can do. I assisted at a studio local to me, and they're all awesome people. And I would help out whenever they needed help, secondhand on, just help them with sets and stuff like that. They do a lot of product photography and all that, help them with lights and stuff like that. So yeah, you can learn all that stuff too. And then, that's turned into, I eventually at one point got to the point where I had to say, I can't do this with you guys anymore. And it was a hard decision to make because, I wanted to move forward with my business and do more of the real estate stuff. And I knew those days that were unavailable on the calendar would be hindrances for me to keep getting booked. But on the other side, I love working with these guys too. But on the plus side, I still do work with them on occasion. I started doing some video work with them too. So I just do that with them on occasion when I'm able to. So it's kind of a good thing. And it's another good little side hustle that turned out from working with those people. You really don't know where you're going to end up until you just try something. So
yeah, and it's good to have those connections too, because once they realize and they establish that you are an established real estate photographer in that area, anytime they have a real estate photography need, they're going to refer you out, right? So building those relationships is so important.
Same thing. Somebody reached out to me, they needed something that was out of my wheelhouse. I'm sending them to these guys that are experts in product photography. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Exactly.
Yeah, totally. I love all the networking and all that. I think a lot of photographers are afraid of working with other photographers, that they're like,
because the competition,
they're in competition, or that they lose something by getting help from somebody else, like they didn't do it all on their own. But I think that your work is what's going to be judged, and if whatever you can learn it, you know what I mean?
Do it.
Yeah. They're not going to go, oh, you learned that from so and so, didn't you? Like, no, they just beautiful work. So there's a pride thing. I think there's definitely a competition thing and a pride thing. I believe that there's a market out there for everybody. So I like working with other people, and I'm not like, there are shoots that I do only video for, where they already have a stills photographer who does all their real estate. I'm not upset about that. Like, you call me,
I'm the same way.
Do your video, no problem. And I think the photographer does a great job too. I don't feel that I have to, what am I going to do to replace that? I don't worry about that. I just do me.
Right, exactly. So working for real producers, I meet a lot of these top producing agents, and they already have photographers that they've been using for years. So I always plug myself and let them know, but I'm not going to like force myself on them. Right. It's more of like just having an introduction. I get to know them. Like, I never want to force sell myself to someone. I just want to have it casually come up in conversation. You don't just come out and say, I do real estate photography. Do you want me to shoot your house? Like, that's so gross. People are like, who is this salesy chick?
Yeah, totally.
She's coming on way too strong.
Yeah, totally.
So it's more about just like getting to know them, asking them questions about what they do, their family, their interests, and then like sliding it in there, oh yeah, I do. And when they ask you, what do you do? Oh, I do real estate photography. Oh, really? And that when you tell people that, I get the best responses. People are always like, Wow, that's cool. Oh, do you fly the drone?
Yeah,
I'm
they
like,
love the drone.
I
Yeah.
do. Yep, and the video
Everybody,
and the Matterport. Yeah,
drone,
it's awesome.
drone is such a polarizing. Either they
Oh my
love
gosh.
drone or they not. Real estate agents love drone, but in
Oh yeah.
general population, either love or hate. Yeah, they either
Oh
come
yeah.
out and like ask you every question about it, or they might threaten to shoot it out of the air.
Or I had kids yelling at me from next door at an elementary school, and they were like, "Hey, drone, come back here! Stop running away from us, drone! We're gonna throw rocks at you!" And I'm like, "Oh, stay away from my drone, kids!
Oh man,
Don't you dare throw a rock at it!"
that would not be great.
And then I had to mess with them, so I like went over them and like flew down a little, and then flew up, flew away. It was
Nice.
hilarious.
That's
We were like literally on the other side of the fence from where I was, so I could hear them like loud and clear. It was great. So, anyways, all right. So, talking about budgeting. So,
Yeah.
Neal, do you set a budget? Do you have a system you do? Do you have software you use for budgeting? Do you just look at him rolling his eyes and shaking his head no?
I have always been
Nope.
horrible with budgeting. Okay.
Does your wife do it?
No.
Okay.
No,
You just
she's
living your
worse.
life. Oh my God.
Don't
no.
ask. No, she's worse. No, so honestly, I tried to do like, I mean, I kind of did budgeting. Not really. I figured out what everything cost. I mean, I
Okay.
guess that's
That's a start. Yeah, that's
you know,
important.
I didn't really like, I don't like, I literally just came down to like, I have to make this much every week in order for us to survive is my version of budgeting. And that's what the
Okay.
calendar is like. If I
Okay.
don't
But
hit
you
one-
have like a grocery budget every month, and you have set bills, and you know what that amount is, right?
No.
What?
No, I don't. No, I've literally instead worked backwards and looked at like all of our, so in our like online banking account, I looked at how much we generally spent. And I didn't say like we can only spend this much, but I looked over months what we generally spent on everything and derived what I need to make. Instead of like going, we need to spend less on groceries, I put the pressure on me. I need to make more money.
I like that. No, that's great. Because there's nothing worse than living on a budget and like a really tight budget where you feel limited, right? So that's a really good mindset. Instead of thinking of like a limited, like I can't spend, it's like, no, I'm gonna make more. I'm gonna push forward and make more so I can support the lifestyle that I want.
Yeah, and I felt like, I don't know why, but it's easier for me to do that. Like it's harder for me to go like, all right, we got to cut back on this I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just put a little more effort into getting one more booking week.
Yes, love
You
it.
know what I
Because
mean?
it's really just one more booking is like $200 to $500, right? That's
Right.
your whole grocery budget right there.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
And in the times they got tight, and you know, there are definitely times where I'm like, I haven't used that lens in a while. Maybe I'll sell it. I literally have 2 lenses for sale right now. But
Yeah.
um,
So do I.
the other side
Just
of it
one.
is I've also which one? This one? The one on your
Just one. Just one.
just one. Yeah.
50
I agree.
millimeter 1.4 if anybody wants it. It's Canon.
Oh yeah,
Let
that's
me know.
that's a good
It's
lens.
not
for
listed anywhere. It's just
good
sitting on my
portrait lens,
desk.
especially on a crop camera. That's a good one. And then but the other thing is like when November hit and it died, you know, I went, okay, you know, the mortgage isn't going to change. I got to come up with money, right? So
Mhm.
I'm still going to have to buy groceries. I got to come up with money. It's still got to pay for my daughter's school. I got to come up with money. So I just instead said, how can I make more money right now? That was different. And then I started doing social media stuff for agents,
That's great.
video content for them. And so
Nice.
I have 3 agents that I do it consistently with them monthly. 2 of them are one's a team of 2 that I do it for. One's a solo agent that I do it for, and one is a brokerage that opens it up to whoever would like to do a session that month. So I do it once a month with all of them for a flat rate to do a certain amount of time with them on camera. And
Then what do they get with that package, Neal?
so basically, and it's very beta still, so it's a little different for, well, 2 of them are pretty much the same, and the one that does it for everybody, that's a little different. One that does it for everybody, I do an hour session. Well, everybody is basically an hour session, but it's kind of a little loose on it. We've been kind of figuring it out. But let's say it's an hour session for all of them, and basically I tell them like our goal is we're going to get for the hour session for the solo agent, for example. We do an hour session, and our goal is to get minimum 4 videos so that they have a video each week. Okay. Then I usually will pull out of that also like some funny stuff or whatever. So they have a couple other things to throw up.
Like the boob light.
Yeah. Yeah, you saw
Like, I didn't know what a boob light was.
I didn't
What
either.
is she talking about?
So one of our agents started talking
Explain
about
it.
a boob light, and I didn't know either. And I was like, "Wait, hold on, you got to explain what a boob light is, like on camera." And she's talking about those Home Depot, the cheapest you can get thing in my bathroom. That we just put in. She's like, "Don't get a boob light. Come on, get a nice picture." And anyway, so yeah,
So a
that's
boob light is like the bowl with
Yeah.
the little nub on the
the
bottom.
bowl, and it has the
Kinda
little
looks like
washer
a
that
boob.
like holds it in place, so it looks just like a boob with a yeah. So anyway, yeah, you got it. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff they talk about. Whatever they want to talk about. Some of it's funny stuff, just because I naturally am geared towards doing silly stuff. So they'll do some educational stuff, but then they might do some silly bits, or I might do some little outtakes and put it together so that they get content. And I try to explain to people, because they can do some of this stuff on their phone too, right?
Mhm.
But
Yes.
will they? So
Right.
a big part of it is not just that, like, I got a fancy camera and I got some lights I can set up. That's all nice. But a
Yeah.
real big part of it is having somebody holding them accountable. Like, hey, no, we're doing it this month. What time is it booked for? We're doing our 1 hour session. They're going to get their content. They got to do their homework. It's like having a personal trainer. If you got a gym membership, you might go once in a while, but you might not have much progress. But if you sign up for a personal trainer for 6 months, which is what the agreement was for these guys, we're going to do it for
Nice.
6 months to make sure that you can get some progress and see the progress, hopefully by that point.
Right.
Anyway,
So
personal
you're
training,
their accountability specialist.
Yeah, you get on point. They keep
Yeah.
you on point, and we get good content for them that looks nice, but also, helping them be a little more consistent. It's honestly what I need for my own business. Is I'm like,
I was going to ask you next, are you doing this for yourself?
no,
You do reels though, and like little short videos.
I
I've
do
seen them.
stuff. I
They're
do stuff
good.
for myself, but I'm not as consistent as I would like to be. And eventually, once I have somebody working with me more consistently as an assistant, I'll be more consistent on that. I'm much more geared towards helping other people than my own self. So literally, I would love to have somebody else come for an hour and do them with. I would do the same
And
thing.
help you.
They'd film it
Yeah.
and they'd edit it, and
Yeah.
they'd give it back to me, and I have my assistant post for me, which is what they generally will do as well. They have an assistant, because that's the other thing. These agents are so busy. That's the other thing that's going to get in their way from being consistent, is they're not going to post it. Even if they have the content, it's just going to sit there, which I do a lot too. I have a lot more on my phone that I do. Like, I do have it in my mind to, when I go on a shoot, get some snippet. Like you saw, I took a snippet and send you something today. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I haven't posted it yet, right? So like I have many days of that on my phone that I just haven't got to posting it, because I get home, I do my photos, I do my editing, I do, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I just bought the Osmo 5, which is the stabilizer for your cell phone.
Mhm.
And you can flip it vertical for Instagram posts and stuff. And my husband came to a shoot with me, and I had him just film me like giving little tips and tricks in the house. And then we just filmed some B-roll. And so I've just been throwing together little reels of like tips for real estate photographers, just little quirky things like propping the door open when you don't have a door stopper, like use toilet paper or paper towels, like little things, or review all your footage before you go up to the next floor when you're doing video work, so you can check to make sure everything's in focus so you don't ever have to go back. So like all these little things. And I was just thinking of them as I was shooting, and I'm like, honey, come here, film me doing this.
Great.
He's like,
and
okay.
you essentially did the same thing. You got like 4 or 5 videos out of just having a person come. And that's what I should do. Next time that I have somebody come train with me that I'm trying to hire as a photographer, then I'll have them hold the camera. Because it's hard when you're by yourself. I'll do it, but I'll like have to prop my phone somewhere. It's not perfect, hit record, whatever. But it's way easier when you got somebody with you, for sure.
Yeah. Oh, Neal, you commented on, so I have a blower, a battery operated blower.
Oh yeah.
It's like DeWalt, I think, that my husband
I like
got
that
it
video.
for me.
Yeah, that was good.
And I bring it out and just like blow off the porch or whatever in the fall, especially. We have a ton of leaves here in Washington. So I posted that. Like, one of the agents has become one of my friends. And so we were at the house, and I did she just used my little stabilizer and did a little video of me blowing off the deck. And I was like, I'm always prepared. Don't worry. I've got a blower, whatever I said. And he was super cheesy, but I'm just like laughing and having fun. And it's just great content. So, and these are things that you can do that can show your personality and show kind of who you are and what it's like to work with you. So it's not, you don't always have to just post pictures of houses and, like jam it down their throats. It's fun to show behind the scenes. It's fun to show kind of who you are and what it's like to be around you, and what you stand for. Like if you have pets, like post your pets every once in a while. Everyone loves seeing cute dogs, right? And kitties.
And that's essentially what I say to the agents too, is
Right.
that
It's the same marketing
you
strategy.
are, if you're in front of the camera and they see you and they like you, they're more likely to choose you than somebody else that how would they found their realtor before? Maybe somebody just mentioned a name, but now they have already got you in their head. So same
Yep.
thing for us.
Yep.
Be yourself. People are going to gravitate to you that like you, and you're going to end up working with people that you get along with and like. Like
Exactly.
what's wrong with that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have like 0 clients that I don't like. Like all of them I enjoy being around and have fun with them.
Yeah, which is amazing, right? To just show up and enjoy working with the people you work with. I love that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's
totally.
fantastic. Okay, so moving to full time, I think a lot of it has to do with just taking it seriously and really deciding that you're going to make this a real business. So in order to do that, like what do you need to do to become a real business?
Right.
You need to have a website that's baller, which you can do on your own. Wix has great templates you can build out. That was my first website. Actually, my website now is built on Wix.
Yeah,
I'm switching to WordPress because I'm rebranding, but
Okay.
my social media or my branding manager is like, I am so excited to get you away from Wix. She's like, we can do so much more. And I'm like, woohoo, yay, run with it, girl. Go for it, Lacey. She's great. But anyways, I know not everyone can afford a social media manager. Not everyone can afford a branding manager, but I did it on my own. I didn't get these people until about 2 years ago. So, and I'm on year 6. So I did it on my own. I did the research. There's templates out there to look at colors that play really well together. So you can choose your colors. You want to stay consistent throughout your website and your social media and all your marketing. So it's all the same colors, all the same font. You can find logos on Pinterest. You can find them on Etsy. I have Fiverr. You can hire a designer. There are a lot of like $25 to $50 logos out there that are great. And I would encourage you, when you find one you like, send it out to 5 to 10 of your friends and ask for their honest opinion. Mm-hmm. Don't send it to your mom or your sister or your dad because they're probably not going to give you an honest opinion.
Yeah.
And tell them, say, hey, what do you think about this for my business? Like, this is what I'm doing. What do you think? So I think that will help you guys kind of get that feedback that is constructive for sure. So yeah, I think presenting yourself as a professional business, obviously having good photos to show on your website that represent you. Have a strong about section on your website too that explains who you are. Put your location on there, like where you're from. That's one thing that I find is confusing sometimes when I don't know where someone is from. So you want to put Seattle area photographer or wherever you're from. What else, Neal? What else?
Well, yeah, I mean, they're definitely going to look at your website. You do need a website. I think that's a big thing that people now think you don't need a website anymore. You just need your Instagram, you just need your Facebook. But I do believe you still do need a website to look professional as a photographer. So do invest in Wix or something like that to get a website going. And put that in your bio, on your Instagram, on your Facebook, so that you do look more professional than somebody who doesn't have that. Okay. And then I think you are still going to get, however, your attention, most likely, unless you're amazing at like building websites and you know something about the back end and backlinks and all this, you're probably not going to get traffic on your website. Your traffic is more likely going to be your friends and family on your social media pages, but they're going to go to that website to see if you're a professional once they hear about you. So,
and your website's going to be on your business card, which you're going to leave at every shoot that you do. You should leave a little stack of business cards on the counter and invest in high quality, thick cardstock business cards. Do the best you can. Honestly, I started doing this about 2 years ago, bought that thick cardstock that's just ridiculous and obnoxious. Yeah. I know. I tried Moo. It was too much. Now I do Canva. What do I do? Hang on. Yeah, it's Canva. I think I have them right here. These might be I'm also a real estate agent, so I can show you. This is this is my EXP.
Your EXP. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's not in focus, and then the back is it's just really simple, gold and white and black, Nice. It's got my picture on one half, our logo on the other half, and then the back is just all the contact info. But I think your cards speak a lot about you too. Oh yeah, here it is. So it's basically just my logo on the front with my name.
Yep.
It's green. And then the back is just a picture of me and then my name and my social handles, and
Yep.
me when I had long dark hair.
Yeah,
So,
mine,
anyways,
I went through Moo, but Moo is expensive. I tried some other thing another
yes.
time and it was a lot cheaper, but it was a hassle, so I just went back to Moo. But I don't leave huge stacks, so probably going that route might be cheaper for leaving stacks. But mine, I always have business cards, but because people will ask for your business card, you'll be someone random, you'll mention you're a photographer, they, oh, where's your business card? So you do need business cards for our business. And mine, I just have I don't have anything fancy. I don't have a fancy logo. It's just my name, NRY photo, well, NRY photo, but anyway, and then on the back, I have a few different, and they're all interior shots that are on the back and my information on the other side. So they see an example of my work. Oh, that's nice. And who are you? Because I think that's a good impact to know right off the bat, like, oh, he's not a crap photographer. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah.
And something that's kind of cool, everybody knows how to use QR codes nowadays, right?
Yes, I have a
So
QR
if
code
you
too.
go to Canva has a QR code generator, and you can put it in your website and have your own QR code and put it on your business card. Then people can just scan it and they go right to your website. And then it can be like, bam, there's a picture of a beautiful house.
Here, we'll show you my. So she has way better style than me. So here, but this works. Okay.
I also have help.
My
I have help.
yeah, so on the back, I've got
That looks great though.
a nice
That looks great.
photo, and I have a couple different ones. Like one's a drone because I like, if somebody's interested in a drone, give them a drone shot. Somebody, whatever. This is a
I
Twilight.
like that it takes up the whole card. Like
Yeah,
the
and then
picture is the whole card. That's
And then
cool.
the back side is really basic because I made it myself and I'm not good at that stuff. But it's just
Your
got
highlights are blown out.
Oh yeah, so it's just got what I do basically: photo, video, drone, headshots. So right off the bat, they know what I do. No questions there. And floor plan and 360 tours. It says all that right there, and it says nryphoto.com. My email and my phone number and a QR code, so they can go right to my website. I think it is currently. I also have some video content that I have a QR code for, depending that they can go right to an about me video. But yeah, the QR code works good.
I love it. Good job. I actually haven't implemented the QR code yet. That's coming on the next round of cards.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. But I only leave like 5 cards. I don't leave a lot. So if you think about it, if you buy 100 cards and you do 5 cards a house.
Oh,
like,
yeah. You said a stack and I was like, wow. All right.
It works. I've had multiple people tell me, oh, I picked your card up at this house. I just love the photos you did. And I'm like, thank you. So that's a good way for you guys to get more clients too.
That makes sense. Yeah, a lot of the realtors do the same thing, right? They leave their card on the counter in the kitchen or something like that. Yeah.
Or restaurants. A lot of restaurants have like a table or a board where you can pin your card up. Like go to the grocery store and pin your card up. You just never know.
Yeah.
I think those boards are like literally geared towards real estate agents. If you go look, it's like 70% real estate agents. It's funny. So imagine, they're going to go and look and be like, oh, who else put their card down? So then if they see your card there, right? And be like, oh, a real estate photographer. Cool. Yeah. And they'll grab your card.
That's smart.
So that's a great place to advertise.
That's smart.
And another thing to do, guys, actually, I don't know if I should recommend this because it's kind of spammy. When you're at a house and you're shooting and it's already live on the market, sometimes you go in and there's a couple cards on the counter. Like I find this with a lot of the new construction that I shoot, like the condos downtown Seattle. There will be like 3 or 4 business cards on the counters. I'll take a picture of it and then I'll like go stalk them and find them on social media and follow them.
Yeah.
And then if they see the house that I shot and they already toured it, they're like, they put 2 and 2 together and they're like, oh, I know that girl. I just walked through that house. She's the one who shot it. Right.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. And then as far as like, if we're going to talk about like, how do you get enough clients? Because
that's a big part of it.
That was my thing. Was like, okay, I've got like, 5 people that are working with me here and there. How do I get more of these so I can keep filling up my calendar? Like these are some things. Other things you can do is realtors have to continue education. So I don't know, you know better on this, how often they have to do it, but you can reach out to your local, maybe you know better than me. I almost did it a while ago, but then ended up getting busy.
National Association of Realtors?
Sure.
Maybe.
But they like to have speakers come and talk when they have meetings or whatever. So you can literally go and talk about your photography business and some topic that would be of importance to them during their educational thing. Or at brokerages, you could literally call them up and say, hey, are you interested in doing a lunch and learn? And they have different names for it, but basically quite frequently they'll have somebody in the related industry come in and talk about their business during lunch, and maybe they provide lunch or they bring something or whatever, and you get a chance to pitch basically, and they'll listen.
Have you done that, Neal?
Well, you know what? Funny enough, I haven't done it. I was gearing up to do it, was offered to do it for a brokerage. The manager of that if you can get in with a manager, by the way, of a brokerage, which I was very lucky to do, and she referred me to so many people. But she actually, I did do it. Sorry, I did do it once, but I wasn't. I was very early on where I didn't have all the offerings I do now. And I guess one of the things I learned from that time and it was just like, I don't know, 20 people in a room. And I just told them about my business and what I did. And it was mostly like headshots and photography at that time. But then they asked me like, oh, do you do this? Do you do that? And that was like, I realized at that point, like, I didn't want to have any resistance, because if this one person, the manager was like, that's the one you want. Like, she was like, oh, well, do you do Matterport? And do you do this? You know, and you could tell it was like, oh, okay, well, she didn't want to deal with that if you didn't do everything. Do you know what I mean? So
that's a good segue into something else I honestly just want to talk about. So when I decided to do real estate photography full time, I bought everything. I got the Matterport Pro 2. I got the Ronin M stabilizer. I got the wide angle lens, the zoom, like everything I needed to do all the services. And I think that is something that will set you apart from a lot of photographers. Oh, and the drone. The drone's huge.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you can offer all those services, like a lot of times I'll go out and they're like, oh, wait, you're doing the drone? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, and you're doing the video? I'm like, uh-huh. And Matterport? Yeah. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Usually I have a photographer come out and then the drone guy has to come back later and I have to schedule it again. And it's kind of a pain, you know. And yes, you have to go take a test and get your Part 107 license to fly a drone commercially. It is a $10,000 fine if you get caught. However, I've been doing this for 6 years and never been asked to show my license. Fingers crossed. No, I have my license. It's in my bag, which needs to be renewed this spring. I'm like dreading it. Like, really?
Oh, the renewal has changed and it's way easier.
Oh, good. Yay.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, awesome. 2 years ago, I let it lapse and I had to take the test all over again. So that was lame.
Oh, yeah. I passed. Yeah, I didn't have to go do the physical test for my renewal. It was awesome.
Really?
It's an online like course. It was like a check the boxes like that you were listening. And if you weren't, you just could listen again and then check them right. It was so much better.
That's great.
Oh, it was so much better. Yeah.
I purchased Drone Launch Academy. I think it was $100-$200, something like that, when I bought it like 4 or 5 years ago. And it was great. It just walks you through like how to pass the test. And then I went online to YouTube and found Tony, I'm going to butcher his Northrup, I think. Yeah. He's got like an hour and a half long seminar on the Part 107 test. And it pretty much covers most of the stuff in there.
That's what I did.
So yeah, between those two things, I went and took the test and I think I got an 85. So I was happy.
Yeah, I passed. I can't remember what my score was. All I cared was I passed. But I did Tony Northrup's what I did too. I didn't do the academy thing. But yeah. And he does a good job of kind of explaining all the basics and what you really need to know. So yeah, check that out if you want to get your license. But yeah, totally. I realized that very quickly that these agents are so busy that anything that you can do to streamline any process will be appreciated, and will separate you from your competition. And that could be as simple as like you and I both do, booking. You do booking link, don't you?
I do what?
A booking link?
Online booking. Yeah. Online ordering, which is huge. They love it. I use HD Photo Hub. Ario also has a good one. What do you use? Calendly?
So right now, and I'm not sure if I'm going to switch to the booking I think I'm transitioning to HD Photo Hub as well, just because I don't need it. But this kind of falls right on that line, is that I think that visually and some of the marketing stuff they can offer them is just one more bonus that they're going to appreciate, that I think will go a long way in the long run of them liking what you do and liking the benefits of what you do and streamlining and making things easier for them. Again, the HD Photo Hub, normally when I deliver my photos, they get an online gallery. And every time I do a house for somebody, they get a new online gallery. But one of the benefits that I think is going to streamline things for them that they're going to like is that when you do HD Photo Hub, they log into a portal and all of the listings they've done with you are in the same place. So they're never going to have to go, I lost that link or whatever. It's all inside the same login. So again, it's not something anybody's asked me for. I saw it because you mentioned it, and I'm like, okay, I can see the benefits of this. It's actually going to cost me a little bit of money. It's not costing me money to do it right now. It's going to cost me a little bit of money to do it, but I think it's, again, one of those things that's just going to add a little polish to the business and set me apart. Right now for booking, I use Calendly, but they love that. When I say here, when I get a new client, I give them a little information sheet with my rates and stuff like that. And here's the link to book me. It saves you time. And they love that they can be talking with like their client. They're at a house. They're trying to, win the house, to sell it or whatever. What's the terminology?
Win the listing.
Win the listing.
Listing presentation.
Or whatever the case might be. But they'll literally be like, oh, when works for you. And they can pull up that link and see when I'm available and agree right then and there. There's no back and forth. And again, that's one of those things. We both don't have to be in our car, like trying to text back and forth. What about Monday?
Right.
And then you hear back an hour later and now that's booked by somebody else. You don't deal with that anymore. So
yeah. And HD Photo Hub, you can brand it with all your colors and your logo. So it looks cohesive. It matches my website. It matches my social media presence. It just looks more professional. When you're sending your package of photos to your clients and you're sending them in a Google Drive or in a Dropbox, it's pretty clunky. It's not very pretty. It's not aesthetically pleasing. I mean, yeah, they know how to use it and they just download whatever. But if they can have their own client portal where everything lives, all of the social media marketing kits are there right for them. Like they can forward that on to their marketing crew. It's super easy to use. So,
well, I sent that to one of my clients, one of my close clients, and say, hey, can you guys take a look? It was a listing they've already sold, but I put their listing that they already sold in there. And the other cool thing is about you can add their profile pictures and their logos and stuff like that, right? So right when they see it, it's got the house and it's got their face and it's got their information right there, and it looks really cool, like the website that comes with it and everything. So anyway, I said, hey, check this out, and they were like, hey, can you make that for this other house that we shot? Because I have a listing appointment and I want to use this as part of my package. So she's going to use that to help her get the listing. So again, I'm helping her.
And Neal, great idea for a video for you to make for your social media. Make a video. I've done this. I do Tip Tuesday every Tuesday on my stories on social. So I did that. I said, hey, take the property website marketing kit from a house that I've shot for you, bring it to your next listing presentation, send them the link on their phone and have them open it up and say, this is what we're going to do for you for your marketing package. And they look at it and they start scrolling through looking at the property website and it looks so legit. And then at the bottom is the agent's head, their headshot, their logo, and their phone number, and you get their head. Anyways, it's awesome. It's awesome.
You're always right on the edge there.
I know. I'm like, okay.
I always have to be so well behaved, and I'm not normal.
The tapioca was almost too much, Neal.
Yeah, totally. No, and that's also something I've done. Realizing that too, like in the past, that I can help them win listings with my content that I've provided for them. I did like an about me video. I love
your about me video.
Yeah,
if you guys haven't seen it, go to Neal's website and check it out. Where is it at? Is it on your? It's on your website, right?
It's on my social somewhere. It is on my website.
What's your website?
nryphoto.com.
Okay.
But yeah, it's Meet Neal Young, and Neal Young. You gotta poke fun at that a little bit. But anyway, I like to kind of present myself as being part of the team. Like when I show up at the house and I treat it like that, and I respect the agents and try to be as helpful as I can and be a part of the team and add to the experience instead of, taking away from the experience. Cause this is a big traumatic thing for the people moving and all this too, So, but anyway, I say, hey, if you want to, when you do your, presentation to these people trying to win this, feel free to use my Meet Neal and say, this is my photographer, because it's one more thing that they're like, I'm just kind of goofy on my video, and they see the nice work I do, and they're like, oh, cool. We don't mind this guy in our house. So everything that you can do to help them, they're gonna appreciate it anyway.
Always trying to help and add value. I think that's a big takeaway from today. Another thing I want to touch on, maybe our last thing we talk about, is if this business, if you're passionate about it and you really do love houses and you love people, you love building relationships, this will come easy to you. This job will grow and flourish and turn into something amazing. If you're really not into it, if you're really not that creative and you're just kind of doing it for the money, it's probably not going to go very far for you. It's just, you got to be passionate about it. And I think that's with any business that you start, right? Like you got to have the passion and the drive, because it grows and you're going to be putting in long hours. And if you don't love it, you're going to burn out pretty quick.
No, I agree. Yeah, and I think that's why it's gone well for both of us, is because we genuinely enjoy it and we like working with the people we work with, and that's why
Yeah.
it's grown for me, because it's been reciprocated, and that's the same reason too. There is loyalty in the business too, and that's why also I don't mind when I find there's some other photographers somebody works with. A lot of times when that is the scenario, they'll be like, hey, would you mind like coming out doing the video and doing the drone, because my photographer doesn't do that, or whatever, or in the Matterport because they don't do that. I'll come and do that stuff. And they'll be like, our other, we like your photography too, and on occasion they'll use me for photography when that person is unavailable, right, as well. But a lot of times the reason they don't do that is just out of loyalty. They're like, hey, the photographer does a great job, and we've been working with him for years, and we like him, and so we're gonna keep working with him. And I love
you
that.
respect that. Yeah,
That's
you respect that, because they're good
Respect.
stand-up people. They're being honest with you. And I have an agent that uses me just for drone, and she has another photographer. And I keep I used to tell her like 3 years ago, I was like, hey, if you hire me for photos, you get $50 off the drone work. Like,
Yeah.
and she was like, nope, we have a photographer. And I was like, and she was just like firm, like, no, we have a photographer. And I was like, okay, backing off. Just telling you, throwing it out there. A little plug. She wasn't having it. It was a hard no. I was like, okay, walked
That's
away
funny.
with the tail between my legs. I
Yeah.
lost that one. It's all
But
good.
I think
It's all good.
the other big thing is, like, I think when you're trying to decide, do you want to go full time or not, is, well, are you enjoying it? If you are, then you've got a good shot at this. If you're enjoying it and you're building relationships, then I think it's only going to continue to grow. And then what you gotta, when you start, if you were like I was at that point, you start to feel resistance with your calendar filling up and the other jobs that you have for your side jobs. Okay, when you start to feel that resistance, and that's what happened to me, you're gonna have to make that decision, like, jump in or not. And basically what I had to do was I had to take a gamble and had to tell my restaurant that I worked with, hey, I think I'm gonna have to take the summer off, to just go for it. And then I did the same thing when I was assisting photography. I would do that here and there, a couple days a week. I had to see it, it was hard to do because I liked that job. I thoroughly enjoyed doing that job as well. But I just knew from financial standpoint and trying to grow my business that I had to give up those other things if I was going to continue to grow.
Right.
So you're going to have to, some point, you're going to have to take some risks. There is some risk you're going to have to take. But if you've got a Grubhub job or you've got a waiting tables job and you don't burn your bridges, either of those jobs, I still can work with. If I ever said, hey, I would love to wait tables with you again, so they would let me come back if they had a space, you know what I mean? So, or I could work somewhere else and they would give me a referral. So don't burn your bridges. Make sure you give your 2 weeks notice. And when you hit that resistance point, maybe that's the time to go for it.
Definitely. I have a car story to tell you. So let's see.
She's big on cars, by the way.
I had a Honda Accord, a 2009 Honda Accord for like 8 years or something. So in 2018, I'm like, I'm going to get a new car. And I was like doing okay. I think I was a year and a half in. So I was making enough to handle a payment. I'm like, I really can only afford like $200 a month for a car payment. Right. So I'm like, I can only get a car for like 12 grand, maybe 15. I was like, ooh, 15 will be pushing it. I don't know. Right. So I have this limited amount of money that I can spend. So I go out and I'm like, I'm going to get a car that gets good gas mileage, that, has like bare minimum. I don't need all the bells. I've always had a car that's fully loaded. Okay. Leather seats. I've always had decent, like I had a Mitsubishi Galant, I think it was. That didn't have leather, but it was fully loaded in high school. And then I got the Diamante, which was like the luxury of, anyways, it doesn't really matter. And then the Honda Accord that was fully loaded. So I'm used to having all the bells and whistles. So I went out and bought a Mazda 3. Yep. It was a couple years old with like 10,000 miles on it. It had crank windows like that you turned.
Oh, nice.
It had cloth seats. It was a manual, but it got like 30 miles per gallon or something ridiculous, right? So I'm thinking, I'm saving so much money on gas and my payment's like $171 a month. Like, this is great. And it was red. I thought it was so cute for like a week. I had it for 6 months and I went to the Toyota dealership because they had a Lexus IS. a 2016 Lexus IS, and I was like, that car is beautiful, but it was $34,000, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, that's a lot of money for a car, right? Like, not doing it. So I test drove it, and then I walked away, and then I checked back like almost a month later, and it was still at the dealership, and they dropped the price to 30 grand. And so I went in and I drove it again, and I was like, if they give me this certain amount for my Mazda, I'm buying it. They gave me $1,000 less for the Mazda than
You still bought
my
it.
number. But I was like, you know what? I think I bought it in May, and business had really started picking up. So I was a year and a half in, right? And I saw the momentum happening. Again, we were going into busy season,
Yeah.
but I was like, you know what? I want the leather seats. I want the nice car. Like, to me, I live in my car. I really do. I'm in it all the time. So it's like my second home. So now I understand that. And I got the 4-cylinder one. So it was the IS, the 200T, so it had a little turbo engine. So I had a little get up and go. It had sport mode, so it was fun. But it had got good gas mileage, right? Like 27 miles per gallon. And yeah, drove that for 3 years, which was great. But it was something that was a little bit of a stretch for me at the time. I kind of panicked about it, like, oh my gosh, my payment, I think my payment was 400 a month. And that was a lot, it's a lot of money. And then as I got going, my business just grew and grew and grew. And it was one of those things where I was so happy that I made that leap and took that chance, knowing that money, you know what, that money is going to come. I'm doing everything that I possibly can to grow this business. I'm meeting people on a daily basis.
Yeah.
I'm being awesome every day. Like, I'm happy. I'm comfortable. Like, I love what I'm doing. Like, there's no way that this can't turn into something great.
I agree.
So that mindset that you have, like
Yes.
those things that you tell yourself every day
Yeah.
will trickle into your everyday actions and what comes to you in the
Yeah.
future.
You
So
gotta have
put that out there.
You gotta have some faith. You gotta have some faith,
Yeah.
and you gotta go for it. If you gotta believe in yourself and just go for it. And yeah, and if you're doing the right things and you're treating your clients as they should be treated, and you're doing your best to do your best work,
Yep.
I believe you're gonna grow. You're gonna do well, and so just keep doing those things. And if you're not there yet, you'll eventually be to the point where I was, where you jumped, or if you're where I am now. Hopefully, the next thing is that you grow that extra step, and then I can buy the new car.
Yeah. Pretty soon we'll get you in a Maserati, and then we'll get you a Lamborghini.
There we go. Perfect. I can't picture myself driving either of those. However,
How about a truck, Neal?
I'll settle for some truck, or
Okay.
a Jeep, or a new Bronco, or something.
Ooh,
Yeah.
there we go. Now we're
Yeah.
talking. Yeah, now my car gets like 15 miles per gallon, and it was $100 to fill up yesterday. I fill up, you guys, like every 2 days, 2 to 3 days.
Oh
It
no.
it stopped at $100, and it wasn't even full. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Oh
Like,
no.
all right, prices are going up again, guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can't afford my
Yeah.
gas.
I've got right now, my wife's old car, the lease that we get. I used to have a lease, but when you get married, and you have a kid, then your lease becomes your wife's car. And now I drive her old car, which is a standard. It has automatic windows, however, but
Oh,
it is a standard, and it gets like 25, 30 miles a gallon. Yeah, so whenever I look at like a Jeep or something like that, I'm like,
oof.
oh boy, I don't
Yeah.
know. Yeah,
I mean, my gas bill used to be like 300 to 400 a month. Now it's like 700 to 900.
yeah.
No
That's
joke.
crazy.
It's ridiculous.
Yikes.
But I drive a lot, and I do a lot of jobs every day. I mean, I'm covering that in a day, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
So
I look at it like, you know what? It's built into my budget that I have. Like, we didn't ever talk about my budget. Neal, you didn't even ask.
I would love to hear about your budget.
Okay, well, I don't have one.
And
I just
yes,
spend.
well-
No, I'm kidding.
Well,
Kind
yeah,
of.
no, what I'm interested about, actually, I'm interested in a lot about your side of things, the budget, but also because it's very different from you. It's not a one-to-one like me. You've got yourself, and then you've got other people that work with you as well. I have a lot of questions there, but
Well, maybe that can be another episode. We can
start with your
talk
budget.
money one of these episodes. I think money is something that a lot of people just don't talk about. It's like
Yeah.
that elephant in the room that is like, you're not supposed to talk about your income and what you make. And like,
Yes.
I don't really want to, maybe I don't want to disclose all of that, but I think we can definitely talk about
Yeah. And
money
you know
and
what?
getting
Here's-
comfortable with money and like manifesting it more into your life.
Yeah, and you know what? Talking before you dive into what your budget is, and she's she's killing it with her business, but just to give you perspective that I have been doing real estate. I've been doing photography a long time, but focusing on real estate photography going into heading towards the second year, but only doing it full time for 1 year. One of the things I want to give people perspective is when you look online, if you ever try to see like what can a real estate photographer make, or what's the average photographer in my area make, it's the average is in my area wasn't very high. It was like between $40,000 and $60,000 or something. And I remember when I worked at my tech company, my boss, who was a friend of mine, at one point he's like, dude, let's start our own photography studio. And I was like, oh yeah, can we just pretend to be like pretentious, like weirdos, and I'll speak with an accent the whole time, and we'll just charge astronomical amounts of money for things, right? He's like, yes, let's do it. And then he literally looked that thing up and was like, what? A photographer makes like $60,000 to $70,000 a year. Never mind. But the point is, don't go by that, because I killed that number. I well exceeded that number last year. Gross. Okay. I have some expenses, but I still beat it net too. So, and that's just one first year being full time at it. So
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
so
And it's
just know
because
that-
you dedicated yourself to it and you push it. Like you went out and did it. You've just got to do it. I think a lot of people get hung up on
yeah.
like analyzing everything, and you get kind of that like analysis paralysis, like, oh, I want to do it. Like literally just go shoot the house.
Yeah,
just
and
go practice.
Don't let some expectation or something somebody else told you
Right.
control what is possible for you.
Yes.
Just, looking at the average and saying, oh, the average is that. Well, I don't think I want to go into that field. That doesn't mean that's the average. You could knock it out of the park. You could be the above the norm, so
Yeah.
anyway, so tell me about, now Rachel is a super organized person.
Oh, am I? No, I try to be.
Well, you're way better than me. Like even with like
Okay.
Google Docs
Getting
and stuff, she gives me that are formatted and have different little subcategories. And I'm
I just learned all that in the last
and I'm like,
3
oh,
months,
I wrote
6
it on a
months.
piece of paper.
I'm like, throw that out.
But
no,
so
I've got
you've got an ironed out budget.
Okay, look at this. I have 3 of them. They're for different subjects, and they're ridiculous. They're just like half of them are just notes. Half of them
At this
obnoxious.
point,
My desk is ridiculous.
I
Anyway.
forget that we're on a podcast because
Okay, so we're showing all of
I
our
just waved
binders.
like 2 more books by
I
that
have,
were
like-
on my, and there's like 5 more over there. But yes.
Oh my gosh. So
But no,
many
that's why I
spiral notebooks.
started. That is why I started doing Google Docs and Google Sheets and stuff like that. Because
nice.
I love
And you
writing
can
stuff.
you can access it on the road, like on your phone. That's what I love. So
only makes
if I
sense.
will have an idea, I can just pop in there and be like, because I have Tip Tuesday that I do, and I always write down ideas for it.
Yeah.
And I have like a whole doc in my drive that gives me ideas of marketing stuff, because randomly things just pop into your head, and you're like, oh, write this down. Write this down.
It's way better than lists that you half written on one book and half wrote in the other book, and then way better. But I'm sorry, I'm going to stop.
Okay, so
Please
shut
budget.
up, Neal. I got to talk now. Okay.
Thank
you.
biting my finger.
He's biting his fingers. Good. That'll keep him busy for a minute.
Uh.
So when I was married previously, my ex-husband, we were on a pretty tight budget. And so we used an Excel spreadsheet that he had made for us, and it budgeted everything out line by line, like exactly down to a T. The amount of money that we brought in every month was pretty much spent and accounted for. So I was like $400 a month for a food budget for a family of 4, which was hard to do, right? But I shopped at like Winco, and I made it work somehow or another. But I also did cash. So I would pull cash out every month and I'd put it into envelopes.
Mhm.
So my sister also did this for a while. I don't know if she still does. This was like years ago, right? So when I got out on my own, I had the knowledge and I had the like steady practice of being on a budget and not spending a lot of money and just like being frugal, right? Because I didn't have a lot of extra. And then once my business started picking up, I started making more money. I started kind of increasing those numbers a little bit. And now I've gotten to a point where I know how much I need to make every month, right? I have a number in my head that I want to make every month. And then I have an Excel spreadsheet that has my mortgage, my savings, my car payment, food, kids, gas, like PSE, cell phone, everything, right? Lined out. And I go in, I pay most of my bills on my credit card, so I get my miles. And then I just pay my credit card off every month. So for me, I don't really budget too much, but I try to stick around, 100, 150 a week for food. When I eat out, we put it on the business because a lot of times I'm meeting out with clients, so it makes sense, right? So use those write-offs. But yeah, I really don't use the budget that much, but I do write it down on an Excel spreadsheet and I see what my bills are every month. So for me, my credit card bill, put everything on my credit card. So if I have a month where my credit card bill is like $6,000, I'm like, whoa, okay, Rach, you need to cool it. Like, you did not need to go shopping. That's extreme. But that's also including my monthly bills, right? So like my car payment goes on my credit card, everything that I can put on there, I put on there. So yeah, I just pay it off as I can. But yeah, so I mean, I think it's important to track what you're spending and to know what you're spending. I know Mint has an app that you can download that's pretty cool. I actually just downloaded it and tried it. I haven't populated it and have time to really play with it yet.
Yeah.
I know Starbucks is definitely a problem for me. I spend like $5 to $10 a day at Starbucks, which is ridiculous. I tried to quit and it didn't work, so it's fine.
We do too much takeout is one of our biggest problems.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to cook. Let's get food. And it's easy, but it costs a lot. When you look at how much it costs, it's like, yeah.
I have been packing my lunch last 2 weeks, so that's been helping with the budget. So like food prep helps, packing your lunches, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it's just about tracking and kind of keeping track of what you're spending. I have savings goals too of how much I want to save by a certain date. So I'll be pumping a lot into savings. And I always pay myself first before I pay other bills. Like obviously I pay my bills too, but it's important to me to have money for me to spend and to be able to go live my life comfortably. Like if I want to buy my kids something a little extravagant, like I'm going to do it because I know that the funds are coming and money's there and I don't really have to budget anymore. It's really nice. It's like I can kind of just live comfortably. I have pretty much everything that I want and need. So it's just about really, I need to be smarter about savings.
Well,
and I'm working
one of
on
those
that.
classic sayings that my father always told me too, is that pay yourself first. And that's kind of a mindset thing, really. It's about, usually it's talked about in terms of savings. And that's why I take that, if I take 10% every time I get paid something, if 10% goes into a savings account, if I then don't have enough money for groceries, because if you do it the opposite way, you're never going to have money for your savings, right? So it's a mindset thing like, hey, 10% always has to go in that account, pay it first. Then if you don't have enough money, well, you got to book another job or you got to find another way to make more money. It's that same kind of flipping it on its ear the other way. Because otherwise, you're always going to be like, you're going to buy your other stuff first. And then you realize, I don't have enough money to save anything this month. And then guess what? The IRS, you don't have money for the IRS. So.
And like for me, I pay myself. Yeah, like I pay myself every month. So I'm trying not to take out so much for myself to pay myself. So I have an LLC that's an S Corp. I don't know are you an LLC as well, Neal?
No, I'm not an LLC yet. I've thought about it, but I haven't done it. No.
Okay. So I'm an S Corp, which means I'm an employee within my business, basically. So I take a set amount of money. I pay myself like $55,000 a year. And then if I want to take extra money out that month, I can, and it's just called a draw. So it's basically like giving myself a bonus. So I can take, an extra $1,000 out a month or whatever and pay myself with that. And then that is taxed less and differently. So you get taxed less being an S Corp. So if you have an accountant, check it out, talk to them about becoming an S Corp because it can save you a lot of money. Like it saved me like $13,000 the first year that we switched me over. So it was huge.
I did talk to a friend of mine about it. But I forget now what the conversation was, but it was like kind of like he was on the fence whether or not I should do it yet or not. But there was
I've heard conflict about it too. I had one accountant that told me don't do it. You don't qualify for it. And then my other accountant who I've been using now for years, who's fantastic. He's like, oh yeah, you totally qualify. I'm like, okay. Yeah. So I trust him.
And one of the big benefits that I've heard about doing that is that it separates your personal property from your business property. So if you were going to have a lawsuit or something like that, they can't come after your house. It would be considered a separate entity. So that's some basics about why you might be considering something like that. But one of the big things too, there's a bunch of other little like red tape and things you got to do and set up that I was like, a little overwhelmed at the time, but it's still something on the back burner maybe for the future. But definitely. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah. I hope this helped you guys get some ideas on how to move from part-time to full-time. We really just want to help inspire you and push you forward with your passion. So anything we can do to help. If you guys have any comments or anything, write them below. Yeah. Can you comment on a podcast? Is that a dumb question?
I really have no idea.
I don't know either.
But
I know on YouTube you can.
They should reach out to our social media as well, and maybe maybe we should we'll have to set up some information about like where people can send us some
Find us.
questions or kindness or whatever as well. If we can figure out a way to do that, it'll be somewhere in the information below.
Mhm.
Or until next time, we'll let you know how to do that.
Sounds great. Be great, guys.
Keep killing it, y'all.
Keep
And thank you for
killing
joining us on
Shooting the shit. Oh, we didn't do it in
That's
unison.
such a weird dance on that. Watch it on YouTube because it's well worth it to see my awkward dance at the end there. I
Yes.
don't know what
Neal always dances. One day I'll dance for you.
Oh, that was there you go. No, but no more dancing. Oh man,
No.
that was
Okay.
terrible. I think I dance better
So
than
bad.
that normally. I don't know. Maybe
Not
not.
a chance. Not a chance. He's lying.
There was
He's
a lot
lying.
of eye rolling happening there.
Right? Mhm.
All right, gang. Thank you for tuning
cool.
in. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you, Neal. Bye,
Right.
guys.
I bid you adieu.